Welcome back to Pixelated Pedagogy. My name is Travis, and today we're going to take a look at a new button that I saw pop up in our Google Drive, in Gmail, and in other areas. It's the Studio button. What does it do? Let's check it out. All right, I almost forgot to mention this is a jam session, which is basically a way to just describe that I'm going to be going through kind of click by click. We're going to explore something together. I don't know a whole lot about this at this stage, but I'm excited to show it off and hopefully give you a use case of using it. So let's go ahead and click on that studio button. Once you get in here, you've got three different tabs. You have a Discover tab, which gives you some ideas of how to use Studio. You have a My Flows area. I have a couple that I've experimented with previously. And you've got an activity area. And this will give you an overview of if these agents or workflows actually worked. And it gives kind of a dated overview of specifically what it did. We're going to touch on all that here in a moment. Let's go back to My Flows. I noticed there was a Do More in Studio button. So we'll click on that, and that gets us into the web interface. This is studio.workspace.google.com, and it's saying automate your work with Gemini. So generative AI is everywhere, like literally anything you're using right now, product or service-wise, probably has some form of AI, generative AI built within it, chatbots, etc., creating brand new content, helping you brainstorm. Well, now we're seeing across the industry the rise of agentic AI. Lots of interesting things happening there. And this appears to be one of the first steps that you're seeing Google take with automating your work. So let's take a look at this main interface. We've got, again, those kind of discoverable ideas of how you can use this. Labeling your emails with action items automatically, starring emails for follow-up. One interesting thing that could be of interest is when you're sent action items, let's create a Google task. Let's get it on your calendar so you can check it off. Those types of things are all possible with Workspace Studio. And these are some of the more kind of general basic things. And we will do one of these basic ideas here in a moment. But you can also use this prompt box where you can just kind of go in blindly and say, hey, this is something that I do. Can you help me with it? And it will do its best to kind of lay out what those tasks look like in order to accomplish that task. It's really interesting stuff. We're not going to touch on that at this point. We're going to keep it simple. And I would like to actually do this one, which is auto add email attachments to your drive. Let's go ahead and click into that. So the reasoning that I want this, the reason that this is of interest to me is twice a week, I get an email from our reporting system that has a file in it, a CSV file to be exact, that I need to upload into another platform. Now, currently, Workspace Studio is exclusive to Google. You can't tie in external systems. So I'm still going to have to upload the file into my other system. But this at least does a little bit of kind of the organization behind it and helps me out. And also gives me an opportunity, since the file will show up in Drive, where I can do a little bit more with it as well. So basically what we're doing is we're going through this if-then that type scenario. So first, to kick off any if-then statement, you need a starter. So in this instance, it is getting an email. So when you click on that, you have some options here. We can start when we get any email or just a specific one. So I know that I get this email twice a week. So I'm going to go ahead and type in as much criteria as I know right ahead of time. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So I know this email comes from informer@nicc.edu. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. It can also search for words and phrases. It does not search through attachments here. But if I hit show more, I have a lot of options here. So I know this email gets sent to me. So I'm going to leave that. I know it has an attachment. That's checked by default. But I also know the subject of these emails, and that is unique. So I'll go ahead and type that in, employee import to. So that's the email criteria. This gets the whole thing kickstarted. So once this condition is met, it's going to do a set of actions. So we're going to head on to step 2. And because I used one of the predefined templates, it has all this filled out. The things of interest here are there are a lot of variables that you can set up. There's some help resources in here to help you kind of understand that in what it's doing. But essentially what this step 2 is doing is it's saying, hey, I got an email. So I'm going to get a list of what email attachments are in that email. Let's say that email had a lot of attachments. You can kind of come in here and set specifically what attachment you're looking for. There's also some and/ors over here. But this all looks good. I don't need to do anything with this one. So then we head on to step 3. So by following the first 2 steps, again, it's looking at my email. It's finding that attachment, listing it out. And then it's going to, in this step 3, add that email attachment to Drive. So I'll go ahead and hit Drive. And I created a brand new folder in my Google Drive called PD Reports. That's where I want this to go. One thing of note, when I was testing this out, I tried putting the email attachment into a shared location that I had with some other employees. When I tried to run that, it errored out. It said, I can't put things in shared places. It needs to just go to a personal area. I'm anticipating this is a security feature, but I did want to mention that currently that is a restriction. So this is just going to my specific drive. And it's referencing the filtered item from step 2 to put that in there. So that's all there is to it. I am going to hit this add step button just so you can get an idea of what's possible here. And it's very robust. So Gemini, of course, is built in. So this offers up the opportunity in this particular workflow. Let's say that the attachment I get from the reporting system is always wrong, or it has some information that I have to manually fix. Well, with Gemini built in, you can transform that content first. So you could go in here and you could say, hey, I know that the third column just doesn't need to be in the report. Go ahead and delete the column. Like you could do stuff like that by leveraging Gemini and these other triggers down here. So we've got, adding rows, updating rows, those types of things. You can even do things like just simply drafting up a reply, putting it in your drafts, and then you can go into your drafts and you can kind of treat that as a to-do list. Like, hey, I've got a student inquiry or this task triggered. So I've got a reply ready in my inbox that I can review, keep that human-centered approach, and then send it off. Really, really neat stuff here. And of course, like I mentioned, it's tied to all those Google tools, Docs, Tasks, Drive, Sheets, etc. So pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this out of here. So you can see there's quite a bit of power here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit test run before I turn it on because I want to make sure this works. And also I know that I'm actually not going to get an email with this type of attachment until next week. So I want to hit test run to make sure it works. That way, next week when this email comes in, I'm not wondering where it is. So it's being very transparent. It's letting me know what's happening. Again, we're getting that email. And it's actually going to backtrack and get the email that came in earlier today as the test run. And it lets you know a test run is going to take real actions. This is not just a sample. So it should actually put this file into my Google Drive when it runs. So let's hit start. And here's the important part. This is where the human in the loop comes into play. This is where you need to verify that the AI is doing what you want it to do. And thankfully, it's very visually friendly in this instance, and it lets you know step by step what's happening, very transparent. So much like our steps on the left here, it's looking for the email. It found an attachment, it found the attachment CSV, and it put it into my folder. All these are clickable as well, so I can see specifically what source, what it's sourcing these from. It's pretty nice. And then finally, it's letting me know it ran successfully. To check the results, you simply double check your sources, just like you do with any AI tool. Let's toggle back to PD reports. Sure enough, here is my brand new file, which date modified. That's when the email came in earlier today, and it is in here, and you're good to go. So this is a really simplified example of what this tool can do. I'm hoping that it may inspire you to give it a shot and kind of see what you can come up with. So let's go ahead and just kind of finish up this workflow so you can just kind of make sure that everything's good to go. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. And after we turn it on, when we head back to the My Flows area, you'll notice I have this one that's active. Here is the one I set up previously that I said there is an issue. So it does a good job of letting you know when there is a problem. So if I actually go back here, we want to go to activity. If you go in here, here is where that issue was, and it's letting me know here was the problem. Very specific error message lets me know. I can go in and edit that and fix it. So that's really nice. One thing of note, I'm anticipating it'll be a feature at some point, or maybe you would even build it in as a flow. When things fail or run successfully, you do have to come in here and actually click activity and see what happens. I was anticipating maybe I would get an email notification or something in a bell icon or something to let me know if something successfully went through or not. That does not seem to be the case. So that's something to keep in mind, as you may have to keep an eye on your activity. So let me know in the comments below, what are you doing with the Workspace Studio? Let's see what kind of creative things we can come up with. And thanks for watching.